Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And this episode, as always on Wednesdays, is sponsored by Gray Fox Games. So
I just want to let know everybody, he psyched himself out. He's just like, It's Gray Fox Games, Gray Fox Games.
It's like, yeah, say it 3 times, then hit record and go.
And then Alex appears. It's like, stop doing that. I have to get a plane ticket back. It's not like I can just go home.
Yeah.
He just kicks in the door like the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah. Smashes through a wall.
Yeah. That'd be great right before you move. Just to have someone smash through your wall.
The Kool-Aid man came through.
Yep. Sorry, landlord.
Alex's nickname is now the Kool-Aid man.
It's still one of my favorite moments from the early season of Family Guy.
Wasn't that a courthouse?
Yeah, he was at a courthouse. Oh no! Oh no! No! Oh yeah!
Oh no!
Oh, this is slowly backs out.
I think on one of the much later seasons, they went back in time or something, and then they were back in that courtroom because it was a very early episode, and it happened again, but it was new and different.
Right.
I just vaguely remember that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I haven't watched Family Guy in a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's still on.
It is.
Yeah.
I definitely lost interest in it.
I used it for like mindless TV if I was put something on just to put something on.
Fair enough.
When I had Hulu. I don't have Hulu anymore, so.
Yeah, I don't have Hulu either.
No Hulu here. I might have to get my own Netflix. The horror.
Well, it seemed like your dad messaged you like 3 hours ago or so, right?
No,
that was your grandpa.
Yes.
Okay.
How are you keeping track of his family
It was on
communication?
Facebook.
It was on Facebook.
Okay.
Because he didn't message me. He just commented on my wall.
Oh.
Like, hey, grandson, where are you? We're in North
didn't
or
say
South
grandson.
Dakota.
Say grandson. That's why I got confused.
Ah.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what he said. And then he's everything he ever types, he says grins. And he types out grins. It's like, Grandpa, there are emojis for that. Like, he says it in real life. Like, he'll say the word grins. It's like,
Does he
like
he grin while he's doing it, or is he just stone-faced?
No. Usually he'll grin while he does it, but yeah, it's like his way of saying I'm just joking. Like, so he'll make a joke and then he'll be like, ha, 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 grins.
Ah, creepy grandpa.
Yep.
Pretty sure he doesn't listen to this podcast.
That's fine. Totally fine. No one in my family listens to this podcast. I'm not sure. I had to. I've told this story before. I had to explain what a podcast was to the majority of my family.
Yeah, I a decent amount of my family at least knew of podcasts. None of them listened to podcasts.
Nothing. Like, I've had zero.
Yeah. Every time I go visit my mom, she's like, and I'm driving, she's like, let's listen to your podcast.
And you're like, no.
We're
going to talk about cursing.
Yep.
I don't want to curse in front of my mom.
No, it's
even
fine.
though my mom cursed in front of me a lot.
Oh, yeah, my mom taught me to curse.
Yeah.
Moving on. Let's talk about actual game-related things.
Is snowboarding a game?
No, but we haven't been doing that.
No.
And talking about snowboarding this
counting.
time of year just makes me sad because I'm not snowboarding.
I went and looked up when the usual opening days are because I can start counting down the days.
But yeah, no, snowboarding currently not game-related. It does have board in it.
It's true.
So when we talk about boards in the future, we'll use that as the cover-up
okay.
to work snowboarding in.
Gotcha.
But for now, since there is no snowboarding.
We are a board and also gaming podcast.
Yes.
All sorts of boards. Skateboards,
Yeah.
surfboards, wakeboards.
I don't think any of us skate or surf.
Correct.
I have wakeboarded in the past. If I still had access to a boat and a wakeboard, I'd go wakeboarding.
I've surfed the web.
Good for you, Zach.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's.
So let's
and
talk.
I skate responsibility. I don't know.
Let's talk about board games.
Zach on a skateboard. That would be
No.
hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
He'd totally be a longboarder. Cruising around with his hands behind his back, just like rocking it.
It's a rock.
Yep.
Goes down hard.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
Zach, what have you been playing?
So on Wednesday, I was able to teach some new people Stockpile.
and I watched you play Stockpile.
Yes, you did.
Because I like Stockpile.
Yeah. As per usual, whenever I teach the game to like more than just one new person, I include the advanced board, which has the unique companies.
Never not.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
And then the forecast dice. That's always my standard. If no one's ever played, base game. And we were playing with a guy who everybody thought he was creaming us like 2, maybe 3. Like on the second round, he already had
6
like
split stocks.
6 split stocks.
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Flipped over
Christ.
3, and Zach turns to me
Yeah.
and he's like, "That's 4, 5, and 6."
Yeah. I was like, fucking this guy. And what sucks is that at the end of the game, I was literally because I knew that there was a stock boom and a stock bust because I'd put them there. And I had $23,000. And unfortunately, if I had $2,000 more, I would have just locked that up. I would have been able to bankrupt that bottom line bank, which everybody had split stocks in except for me.
Oh.
And yeah, I would have won the game if I was able to do that. But I didn't. But I did get in second. But he had 131,000, and I had like 110. So I was a lot closer than I thought.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
That's still a pretty high score.
No, yeah, I was
5 player?
5 player. Yeah.
5 player.
Kyle, I think, had 50,000, if that. He didn't. He basically was like, every time there's a decision, I made the wrong one.
It's like Adrian playing Food Chain.
Yeah.
Only
Online.
Only online.
Yeah.
I'm actually competitive in person.
But I played that on Wednesday, and then I've also recently I saw on Twitter Eric from What's Eric's Playing posted a picture of him playing. Oh God, was it Ganz Schlon Clever?
Yeah. I don't know how to actually pronounce it.
All right, that German game that was nominated for the Spiel.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
Roll and Write.
Yeah.
But there's an app on it. It's technically quote unquote unreleased, but I found it on the App Store.
Uh-huh.
And so I bought it, and then I've been playing. It's only solo mode, and it is really like it's only the solo. And every time I basically have to close it after every game because it doesn't go back to the main menu. It just is like
It's pretty alpha.
yeah,
on
pretty
this
alpha.
version.
But for the first time playing it, I really enjoyed it. But when I didn't know how to play the game, and I saw that it's just in German, I was like, all right, let's try and learn the game through context.
No.
I 90% of the game I slowly got, but there are these fox symbols that are like throughout, and they're worth points, and every time they'd be worth a different amount of points.
Okay.
And I tried to tie, and I was like, I have no idea what's doing. But what they are is at the end of the game, there are 5 different like mini game sort of sections, and then whatever one is your lowest scoring, each fox is worth that many points.
Okay.
So you can choose to go heavy into some of them, but then say you only get 2 points on one,
Mm-hmm.
then the foxes are only worth 2 points. But if you go if you sort of spread out a bit and you get like your minimum is 20 points, then the foxes are worth 20 points each.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's going to feel like a different game, like once it has an AI mode or something like that where I can play not solo.
Something crushes you.
Yeah. Well, because I know there's choices about the main player, whatever dice they don't choose, everybody else gets a chance to choose from those dice.
Okay.
And for here, it's just like I roll dice, I choose, and then at the end of it, after I've chosen my 3, it just rolls dice again, and I get to just choose from the 3 random ones.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are most roll and writes like only certain people can take some certain numbers, or
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of them are.
Welcome
yeah.
to seems to be not that.
No.
Okay.
No, like I know the only other roll and ride I've actually played is Harvest Dice from
Mhm.
Grey Fox, and on that one, you roll a bunch of die, and then you take turns picking from that pool, and
Okay.
then when you take it, it's gone. Nobody else can use it.
So I've played a couple other roll and writes, and this one definitely. After I played the game like 5 or 6 times trying to figure out the rules, I did eventually just watch a playthrough or a review of it just to be like, all right, what shit am I actually missing?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I saw the fox and stuff like that. But I definitely agree with it was John Gates Games. I watched his review of it, and I definitely agree that it looks like there can be downtime between players because there's a decent amount of like decisions to make on what you're choosing and what you're giving to other people.
Yeah.
And most roll and writes, like he was saying with Harvest Dice and stuff, it's pretty like you choose something, you choose one thing, then another person chooses something, and then somebody else chooses one. You choose all of yours first.
Gotcha.
And you do all the ramifications of them, and then other people can then choose.
Okay.
But one thing I really like is that there's a lot of comboing in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So you reach certain amounts, and it's like you put it on this green one. It's like, all right, you get a free blue one, and you can take that blue one, and you mark a blue spot, and it's like, oh, you get a purple one for that, and you go to the purple, and it gets you a yellow, and then it can bounce off and do stuff like that.
Okay.
It's been a lot of fun for the phone.
The mobile?
Yeah, for the mobile.
Mobile.
Are you from the England?
No.
Right on. What about you, Jeff? What have you been playing recently?
I played Welcome 2 at game night, and with like 7 people all crammed around a table.
Correct.
Yeah. Didn't do as well as my first time, but I didn't get last. I continue to keep enjoying Welcome to as my first flip and fill. Also,
Yes.
the first flip and fill.
Correct.
And
As
my-
far as we know.
Yes, my first roll and write in general. It's a fun game. I've been kind of okay at putting numbers where they're supposed to be. I might be good at that. I don't know. I've only done it twice so far.
You might even be a professional about it. You don't know. It's just
I don't know.
If you need a guy to put a number where it's supposed to be, you call Jeff.
Unless it's rolling a die,
Mhm.
and that's not happening. But we spent all day Saturday,
Yes, we
for
did.
the most part, playing Charterstone.
Which I'm solidly jealous of.
Um,
Megan and I were supposed to be 5 and 6 for that one, but have to pack and clean for the move.
Mhm.
Indeed.
And since it was Paul's, he was just like, I'm tired of waiting.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. He couldn't wait 3 weeks for me to be done with my move.
Mhm.
Well, that's also after Gen Con, and
Yeah.
I have an interview with Jamey Steigmaier, and I would like to talk about Charterstone with some sort of knowledge.
Details.
Mhm.
Yeah. Zach will be there.
Yes, I will.
Yes. I won't go into any real spoilers, but if I'm sure there'll be timestamps in case you want to hear nothing
Yep.
about this game. But first of all, play with 6 players. You madmen, just get 6 players because 6 players is where this game is by far. We played with 4.
Mhm.
We started the Automa on the 2 unused plots in game 3.
Yes, we did.
And I have enjoyed that game far more ever since. The general hook of the game is you put stickers on a board that are different resources. There's 6 different resources, and then you build up from that with different shit that you
Yep.
can do with those resources.
And it's worker placement because
Yes.
you're placing workers to get that stuff.
Indeed.
And then you're basically trying to get the most points by the end of the game because
Yeah.
it has a progress token.
Yeah,
Whenever you do certain things, it moves, and then whoever has
can get you various things like reputation, which is sort of like end game. Like you have the most reputation, you get 10 points, 7
Right.
points, 4 points. Friendly ties.
Mhm.
Zach is filled with bullshit and his reputation horse shit that he was pulling.
I mean, you're not
You
wrong.
look affronted.
No, I mean, I'm just I would like to explain myself,
But you
I can't.
I did talk to Adrian at
Mhm.
work about it.
And then
Didn't
after
I?
explaining
Yeah.
it, everybody would be like, "Yeah, you're full of bullshit." Zach."
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like,
full
yeah.
of shit. But I enjoyed it. It's a fun worker placement game.
Mhm.
Not too. I mean, it's a legacy game. Some of like, if anyone has ever looked at Charterstone, there's the Codex or the Index? Just a fuckload of cards,
Mhm.
and all of those cards just like every time you unlock something, it's like, all right, here's like 12 more cards, 8 more cards, and you'll get like 3 more cards. Or
Well,
something
and
like that
I'll say that it's not. It's a lot more piecemeal than like Pandemic or some where it was
Yeah,
like
it's not the
end of
beginning-
game stuff. It's more like when you do like it has
in the middle of the game.
middle of the game and has a spot that's like you do this
The
and-
Charterstone.
the Charterstone.
Yep.
And you get to start.
Basically, every card is a building.
Mhm.
Well, not every card, but a lot of the cards are buildings.
Yes.
But most of these buildings will have a little crate icon,
Mhm.
and then you can Charterstone to open that crate. You go to a fancy sheet, and it tells you what cards to pull out.
Yep.
Some tell you the same cards over and over, just sort of like, hey, this is clearly where this unlocks
Right.
that you skip. But a lot of times that's like, all right, I built this, and it's like some crazy branching tech tree
Mhm.
of just you're going down this route and just unlocking crazy shit this
Yeah.
way or that way, and there's 6, and then multiply that by 6 because
Mhm.
there's 6 different people and their different tech trees are
Yep.
totally different. And
So you get a little bit more downtime in the game because of it. Because it's like every time someone goes there, just like
it's like, all right, I'm gonna charter and
And usually at this point now, it's just been like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go
yeah,
while you do that.
yeah, because it usually you might get a little something, but it's nothing that's so dramatic that you can't stop the next person from doing it.
Yep.
Because it could be unlocking a new kind of
Mhm.
item or like assistant or person or whatever.
Yeah.
Bonus asset cards, I think, is what they all are.
Advancement cards.
Advancement cards.
Yeah.
Okay, advancement cards. And then there's a billion different types of them.
Yeah.
And we got through game 5.
Mhm.
There seems to be an overarching story.
Yes.
Uh,
Unsurprising with a legacy game.
Yes. but more to it than I thought there was going to be.
I would agree with that too. I think for me, because we've gotten hints of things, and I'm like, that's the most interesting thing for me about the game, because I'm enjoying it, but I definitely, as of right now, if after we finish this one, someone's like, you want to get the recharge pack and play again, I'd be like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but we'll see how the later part goes.
Right on.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see, because I know one of the things that's been really touted about Charterstone is at the end of your campaign, it's a fully playable game. Like a lot of these legacy games, like you play the campaign, but then when you're done, it's hard to keep playing.
Like Risk and Seafall.
Yeah,
but not the pandemic ones. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how well this accomplishes that, being an actual playable game at the end.
It will be. I think it'll be playable. I think there will be, if you're bringing someone. I don't know why you would bring someone new into the end game of this, but you would have to learn so much.
Yeah. And as of right now, there wouldn't be enough for the game for me to continue wanting to play it after, but we'll see.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to see what like different people's games were.
Yeah. I think the biggest plus we had for the game was just playing through 5 games in one day.
Yeah.
The first game took almost 2 hours, but that's just because we were learning the game and we were trying to figure out some stuff.
And we turned off the rules video.
Yeah.
Because Paul hates that man.
Yeah, he just hates Rodney so much.
Yeah. Couldn't make it 5 minutes in there, and then couldn't figure out how to turn on like faster to go through it.
Yeah.
And so basically ended up reading the rules instead of watching a video.
Yeah. And then halfway through he just handed me the rules to read them, and I went through
which was
them
a good
lot.
idea,
Yeah,
because
I went through them a lot faster than he was.
And then also Paul, Bullshit Paul, kept like partially reading sentences and then trying to do something and not finishing reading what it was going to do that would make it much more clear what he was supposed to do.
He is the worst person I've ever seen about like say there's 2 sentences to explain something. After that first sentence, he's like, "Fuck it, I'm doing this right now." And then he's like, "Well, what the fuck is this supposed to mean?" And we're like, "Just read farther." And he's like, literally one sentence later, he's like, "Oh, okay."
Such bullshit.
Yep.
Indeed. I had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Play with Automa. Jesus. If you play with less than 6, play with Automa. Because the non-Automa rules are just like, you get a sticker for this guy, you get a sticker for this guy, or building. And
for the areas of the city where there's not a player.
Yeah.
Yes. And then that's it.
And
until your next game, and then there's one more and one more.
Yeah.
But this actually has a deck of cards, and they build multiple times, and it shuffles, and
they get stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah.
In terms of victory points.
It's very similar to Scythe's Automa, where it just sort of like gets points as it goes, because it sort of infers that whatever random actions it's doing, these all kind of combine to do like this amount of points.
Fair enough.
Which took Paul longer than I thought for him to understand how the Automa worked.
Yeah. Like, why is it getting 2 points every time?
Yeah, he's just like, it's just getting points all the time. What the fuck? This
because
is bullshit.
it's going to random spots on the board, and it's not really getting resources or anything like that. It's just sort of like,
it's not playing with a strategy or anything. It's
supposed to be like the vague, like you get this many points. But it has a kind of legacy, a pandemic legacy sort of strength scale. The more it loses, the stronger it gets. And so like our next game, it's going to get certain ones have like, it gets its strength in victory points. Our next game, it's going to get its strength 4 victory points every time it says, like, do this.
Yeah.
There are some that have printed victory points on them, like 2.
And the Automa can win a given game, right?
It has to beat average?
So to beat the average, and because we didn't play with them the entire time, their score doesn't matter.
Yeah, because we didn't play with them in game 2.
Yeah. So.
Tisk.
Meh.
I wanted to play with game 2, but everyone was like, let's not read the rules and just keep playing. And then we break for lunch, and I was like, everything about Automa is way better now. They make stuff.
I know
they make stuff. They open boxes.
It's nice. It's nice for them to open boxes, but otherwise, like,
because you get some points for opening a box, and then you get some stuff that you're probably not going to be able to build, and to actually flesh out like all of the shit that they have. No one's going to be spending time to make like grain and pumpkin related things when they could be making their own cool shit.
Yeah.
And that's where the Automa is nice.
Cool. I'd agree in that regard. Yeah. I don't know if we need to play them every single time, but
every time.
So we did that, and I know we're gonna try and play more of it, but we'll see.
Yes. Try and pump it out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pumpkin it out.
Hopefully, yes.
Right on.
I don't think there's anything else to really chit chat about. It in the Charterstone.
No.
I got the fancy screened meeples a long time ago before the game came out. Because I always wanted to get it, but then I just never got it. And then Paul got it. And I was like, I don't think we need 2. because we're all just going to play with each other anyways.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably gonna still get a copy at some point.
You could do the recharge pack. Well, like
Depending on what Paul
Yes.
wants to do. If Paul wants to run another, because I kind of wouldn't mind trying it as a 2-player game with 4 Automa for Megan and I, and then having enough to do an actual like full like 6-player one. So I might still look into getting my own copy.
I've heard they're half off some places.
Yeah, you're starting to be able
I
to see
threaten-
some good deals on them.
I threatened to buy it at Geekway just to piss
That's
off
right.
Paul.
yeah.
Like, look, Paul, what I got? We're going to go play this. Even though we got it like right when it came out.
Seafall taught me my lesson on that one,
Mhm.
especially with like campaign style games. It's like I'm gonna wait to buy it until we're ready to actually play the campaign.
Yeah, I can understand where it is in the BGG rankings now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'd be like, man, this thing is just hyped. That's why it's up there. And it's like, no, it's actually pretty good.
Right
Yeah.
on.
So far, still Pandemics 1 and 2 are my favorite, but
Fair enough.
But that means we actually have to play Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
I know.
God, I know, right? We need to get it back.
It's been months.
it is
And Time Stories.
Yep.
And in theory, maybe try and finish Seafall. And I don't think that's ever going to happen.
That
The
ship
question-
has sailed, sir.
The question is, how much is your time worth to you?
Exactly.
There
There are other ones I'd rather play.
Fair enough. For myself, this was kind of an off week for gaming. We are deep in the heart of move, as I mentioned earlier, and so we are currently packing up just fucking everything. I haven't really been playing much games. That's been the game I've been playing.
Pack
is
and move.
Pack and Move, which is a combination dexterity stacking,
I was playing that game.
optimization.
I was playing that game at the end of May.
I did play the Welcome to at game night. I taught it. We've been playing. I've now on 2 different occasions gotten to play with some of the advanced objectives, which I really like. I think they add a little bit of
Yeah.
a different
100%.
kind of mindset what you're trying to do.
More than just trying to break out subdivisions.
Yeah.
And so it's nice having 1 or 2 of those be different objectives.
Because there's a lot of objectives in
Oh
that game.
yeah, there's a huge stack of cards for all the different possible objectives. Most of them are just variants on how many or what size little subdivision estates you're trying to build. But yeah, it's really nice getting to actually play with the more advanced ones. In fact, like the game that we played, it was largely a teaching game, and I still just mixed one of those in there. I was like, all right, this one just wants you to get all of the houses in a row. That's it.
Yeah,
Like, that's an easy one. You can just throw it in there.
I think
That was-
you can just start doing that now. So
I was one stupid number away for
I
like
beat
3 turns, and then he gets it, and then I get it on the next.
Jeff
friggin'
was
turn.
going for it on the 10 house row. I got it on the 12 house row.
you suck, Jeff.
You're a real piece of shit.
Yeah,
No need to call him names.
I
I
know
was
what
just talking about his abilities.
I know what I am.
Then I also did finally, for the first time in, I don't know, 7 years probably, a long time, I played a game of Spades, and Mallory and I got pretty handily stomped by Zach and the hater himself.
Yeah, you did.
And so that was
It's nice when Mallory called nil and we made her take
the
card-
last
last one, even though it caused us to get set. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. I think that one we still technically came out slightly ahead. Well, except for the extra bags we took
Mhm.
setting you.
Yep.
But which ultimately cost us in the end. But in that particular hand, we did catch up because I made mine. She lost 50 for her nil. And then I think you guys lost. I
We
don't know,
lost
60,
70.
70.
Yeah, but
Yes.
like I said, it was fine because then you were at like 116, 117 to our 110 or 112.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yep.
It was real bad. So those are the only things I've really played, board game, card game wise. Mallory and Alan are moving back to Chicago soon, so they want to organize having a old school card game day. We get together and play like euchre, spades,
Hand and foot, and
hand
stuff
and
like that.
foot, cribbage, shit
Mhm.
like that. And I think that'll be fun. Really, just cement that I'm turning into an old man by sitting around and playing card games with a 52 card deck.
Yep.
So, and I think that brings us up to the Bloody Minute. Jeff, what is the current state of Blood Bowl as the league is winding down its season here?
The championship has been finalized. It'll be the Sparkle Rats, which is Phil's team, which is his 3rd straight championship in 3 seasons, twice with Dwarves and now with Skaven.
At what point are you guys just gonna be like, you know what, Phil, just take a season off?
Ant made him retire his Dwarf team after two straight championship wins with almost no defeats except me.
Right.
It'll have to be like how Red Rocks is no longer eligible for like the best venue in America
Yeah.
award. It's like just called the Red Rocks Award.
Yes.
Yeah, the first place is just the full award.
That will never happen. But then he is playing against our good friend Daniel T with his Lego Losses, I believe Pro Elf team.
Yes, he was doing Pro Elf, yeah.
Pro Elves, which usually it's either Wood Elves, Dark Elves, High Elves. Pro Elves not as rare.
I mean, they sound good. They're professionals apparently. So.
He got some very good stat ups. He has 2 guys with plus strength, a catcher with plus strength, and a thrower with plus strength. So they're both strength 4.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and one of his throwers that got the plus strength got an edge up, so he's strength 4, edge 5.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He got some good stat ups, hence why he did so well. They'll be playing this Wednesday at Fiction at Game Night. So we shall witness with our own 6 eyes in our heads, 2 each.
Yep. Mine's still in my head, yeah.
The championship game at Fiction. I've decided on my next team. It's going to be Lizardmen. I got it with David in a big bulk order because David actually has purchased his first ever Blood Bowl teams.
Oh, wow.
Because
Snap.
he's always used ants.
What is he doing this time?
I think he's doing Dark Elves.
Okay.
But he did also buy a Chaos team because he really likes Chaos.
Yes, he does.
And I got my Lizardmen team, Comics and Ninos, I think. Willy Miniatures.
Okay.
They look fantastic.
Do you have a name for your team yet?
I do not have a name for my team or a naming scheme. They're all very Aztec-y named, like Quetzalcoatl and Tenochtitlan and kind of those types of names. I probably won't go that naming scheme. But I spent all day Sunday organizing my room because I needed to find all of my modeling tools and paint and whatever box they were in. That has all been done successfully.
Are you going to try and fully paint them, or are you going to do your requisite 3 colors?
3 colors.
Yeah.
Until I get more paints, it's probably going to be pretty minimum
Okay.
on them. But I will probably also be taking them to Gen Con for the tournament because I don't want to play humans, dwarves, or orcs, which are the only other 3 teams I have. I could always borrow ants, of course, but I want to get good with Lizardmen.
You're good.
Yeah. But in preparation for that, I played a Blood Bowl 2 game with Lizardmen. I've played probably 4 or 5 now. They've all gone poorly. And
have a lot of people died?
Yes, like it'll be like, and it's game 1, and I had a Saurus die. Oh fuck! Reroll the team, restart. But the nice thing about our league is I'll get 2 matches of friendlies, so I'll get to be able to actually like level them up without
casualties counting, right?
Casualties carrying over, they'll still count for the game.
Well, yeah.
But they won't die. That'll let me build up a little bit.
They get better.
They get better.
Yep.
Yes. So I played Blood Bowl 2. I played against a brand new Chaos team. Well, not a brand new Chaos team. At least 1 or 2 games in on Chaos, but they had no new skills. All they had was some fan factor and an apothecary, and I didn't even have that. Game started off, we just sort of kind of hit each other a little bit. I'm really trying with Lizardmen on the Saurus. They're strength 4, not to follow my hits, because what inevitably happens, they mark him up with someone, and then it just turns into a chew toy of you just hitting them and nothing happening. You hitting them, nothing happening, and you're just kind of like you do nothing but just try and hit them for 4 turns, and that's a strength 4 guy just sitting over doing nothing. Thankfully, he was being kind of he was a decent player, but his Chaos came after me and would kind of stay next to them to the point where I could sort of get some dudes where they needed to be.
Okay.
First half, very tense. I ended up losing a skink and having a knocked out Saurus. And then he had a Chaos Warrior badly hurt, a Beastman badly hurt, and then a Beastman KO'd with another Chaos Warrior. So the first half was actually pretty good. Ended up 0-0. He failed a 3+ dodge for the score on turn 8.
Oh no!
I had caged him up with skinks, and which let him get because Beastmen can have horns when they blitz. They get strength 4, so he got a 1 die on the skink. He knocked him down, didn't break the armor, but the way I had them set up, he would still have to dodge no matter who he hit. I was basically the little T Tetris piece with him in the middle.
Gotcha.
And then he had no rerolls or anything, so it was basically 3+ to score, which he failed, thankfully.
1 or a 2?
I don't recall exactly off the top of my head, but dropped the ball, end of the half. None of his KOs came in. None of my KOs came back in, which gave me a player advantage because he had 4 guys out. And as a new team, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7 guys on the field versus my 9. But then that's where it really turned, and I started smashing the shit out of him.
I mean, with any smashy type team, once you have the player advantage,
like I have a higher strength.
Right.
I don't really have any mighty blow or anything like that. But
your sources are just.
But they're just strong.
Yeah.
I was able to basically mark his one cast warrior with my Crocs, strength 5, and then everyone else was strength 4. And they were all marked up, so they all had uphills unless they blitzed, and then they could get a 1 die.
Blitzing for the 1 die.
Yeah. So I basically just smashed the crap out of him for the rest of the game. I tried to hand off to a Saurus on a couple times to try and get him a touchdown. When you're at that kind of player advantage with Lizardmen, you want to try and get a touchdown with someone important. Downside is my Croxagore finally decided to bonehead 5 turns in a row.
That's not good.
No, that
sounds very boneheaded.
That's on one player getting a bonehead 5 times in a row. I don't know what chance is that?
That's
1 in like 1900.
Yeah,
I think.
That. Yeah, it's a very low.
Point,
it's a lot of, there's more zeros than you'd like.
0.0001% chance of getting 5 ones in a row on that same player. Thankfully, I was winning so much that it didn't matter. Ended up winning 1-0. Getting a lot of good star player points and stuff.
Nice.
On a Blood Bowl 2 team that won't matter for the actual tabletop, but I got some good practice.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sweet. Nice little easing into it.
Yeah. I haven't played Lizardmen very much, so the more practice, the better.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
Yeah, because they're half their team is super squishy and half their team is super strong.
Yep.
So like seven players over strength 4 and 4 players at strength 2.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, before we move on to news and Kickstarters, it is time to drink another one of the beers that Andrew brought us when he was in town. This week, it is Woodfolk Mixed Culture Ale from the Collective Brewing Project.
Where's that from?
Brewed and bottled by the Collective Brewing Project, Fort Worth, Texas. So, yes. 500 milliliters, 7.4% alcohol by volume. And this was bottled on 2 June of 2017. So this is a nice aged
like a year
sour here. Yeah. I can tell by the smell immediately. It is a sour. Yeah. Taste buds can confirm it is a sour.
That is quite sour.
It's really good. It's actually one of the better sours I've had in a while.
That's good.
Definitely drinkable.
Indeed.
Hey, you never know. I've had a lot of sours that are not drinkable.
Yeah.
Especially ones that are like, some kind of a unique culture. I really like Paradox here in Colorado, where they do a lot of wild fermentation.
No, I don't like wild fermentation.
That doesn't always go well.
Things get too funky or whatever it is.
Too naturey.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, that wraps up the beer corner. This is Andrew's Beer Corner,
Yes.
part 2 of 3 series. So
Yes.
next week will be the final in the Andrew's Beer series, unless he sends us more beer to extend the series. But yeah, thanks Andrew for another delicious beer.
Indeed.
Nice aged sour. I like it.
It is good.
But that means news.
Indeed, it does. So much news.
First up in news is a new Monopoly version, which may surprise you because this Monopoly is themed after the world of Warhammer 40,000.
Do you want to read that little blurb that they had?
Where is it?
It's the headline.
Oh, okay.
It just handed
Here,
over.
I'll just read it.
Just read it.
All right. Warhammer 40,000 Monopoly shows that in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only rent
Yes.
instead of war.
Yeah. I also like the first line. When you think of the bleak, violent sci-fi setting of Warhammer 40,000, what's the first thing that comes to mind? That's right. Buying and selling property.
I mean, the second one is good too. It's a crying shame then that Games Workshop's miniatures universe has remained so underserved thus far by a board game spinoff that faithfully brings the 41st millennium's thriving property market to life.
An arguably unexpected, some might say unnecessary crossover.
Yes. I don't think there's really going to be anything mechanically different about this in any way, shape, or
Nope.
form. It is definitely just themed. It's got all the little pewter pieces are, Space Marine helmet, Tyranids, Eldar, Orc, Chaos,
Necron and
etc.
Tyranid.
Yeah, Necron, Tyranid.
Chance and Community Chest have no place in the grim dark setting, so in their place you'll draw Fate and Glory cards.
Indeed.
And then it's
Outposts and fortifications.
I do wish it was still just houses and hotels though.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if there was any Monopoly I was going to own, it would probably be this one.
Yep. That said, players can still be sent to jail, pass go, and claim free parking as usual. A bit strange. A bit of a strange tonal disconnect, given that you're collecting souls for the Emperor.
Skulls for the Skull Throne.
Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. Richard, if you need another awesome 40 or another awesome Monopoly to own, you can buy Warhammer 40K Monopoly.
Next up, Food Chain Magnate pre-orders are still ongoing.
This is the 8th.
They have now.
Oh,
this
yes.
is a new round of
Yes,
pre-orders.
new rounds.
This is the 8th.
It is the
copy.
8th print run.
Yeah.
Still
the exact same.
Yes. This print is identical to the previous print runs.
Yep. And still costs the same because they're like people will still pay for it.
Yeah.
So.
Indeed.
Which is €75, VAT included. Shipping is a bitch, I will tell you right now, for those of you stateside. So I probably wouldn't pre-order here. I would wait until some of the local stores start having their own pre-orders. Let them do the heavy lifting of bringing a bunch over in bulk, and then you can get it from them. And this is where you'll see Food Chain dip down to $80 to $90 is where you're going to be able to pick that up. So, yeah.
Supposed to be delivered around November of this year. But they may be pushed back depending on your location to
it's hard
early
to ship.
next year.
Yeah, from where they're shipping and the numbers they're dealing with, there are places that it might take an extra couple months on a boat to get to.
They have to send the guy on the mule. It takes a while to get there.
Exactly.
They have to.
They're very low.
They have to raise the mule before they can use it to ship.
Yeah.
It has to be specifically trained to carry Food Chain.
That copy of Food Chain. It's
yes. Everyone is sent out on their own personal mule that's been bottle raised by Splotter themselves. Bespoke.
But yeah, so you can get Food Chain again if you've been hankering for a physical copy of Food Chain.
And then you too can join everyone else that owns Food Chain and hasn't played it yet.
Yeah.
Well, I like
a lot of people.
I like in our Slack was that Andrew is like pretty much 1 in 4 of the people that I teach this game actually likes it.
Yeah, which is totally fine because Food Chain plays great at 2 players. So be happy you've got one.
Splotter, be happy you've got one. Throw that on the website.
Yeah. That's Food Chain pre-orders.
Next up on news, there's yet another Rick and Morty game coming.
Cryptozoic has just been cranking them out.
Fucking punching them out. This one is called the Pickle Rick Game, which comes in a Pickle Rick shaped container.
Yes, it does.
For the game, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. I also don't like the smirk that Pickle Rick container has.
I mean, that's the Rick smirk.
So there's going to be some at San Diego Comic-Con this week. There will be some at Gen Con, but the full release will be in September. Not much gameplay stuff here. It's going to have some minis of Pickle Rick and Jaguar. Because this is based on the Pickle Rick episode, of course.
And it's basically one person's trying to escape as Pickle Rick, while the other people are either Jaguar or the Russians, and they're trying to stop them.
Yes.
I hope we get to see Pickle Rick just murder the shit out of some rats, though.
Yeah, I would really miss if that part wasn't in there.
It doesn't sound like it is from the description.
I know.
No.
The suggested retail price for this game, however, $45.
Fuck all of that.
Well, it's the Pickle Rick container.
Yeah, the Pickle Rick container. It's got 2 minis.
Yeah. But at the very least, I'm glad that they're not just continually doing just like more deck builders and like that's it.
Yeah,
like they're trying to do different. They're doing different style games with this license, which I can appreciate.
Yeah, as long as it's not the stupid Meeseeks box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Not all of them can be winners.
No, not everyone can want to hump a wall.
Nope. In fact, I'd say most people do not want to hump a wall.
It's true.
Cheers to that.
Just really hammer that point home
Yep.
with a glass into the microphone.
Shatter.
I still kind of want to play that Rick and Morty deck builder though.
I do too.
Need to purchase it.
Mm-hmm. No, they might have it at Gen Con. We play it there.
Yeah. Speaking of purchasing, you bought that Choose Your Own Adventure game.
I did.
We haven't played it or looked at it or
Oh,
really
shit.
anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know you got that.
You didn't see the picture I sent to our chat?
No. Well, no, I did, but I didn't realize you bought it.
It was literally in my car. Do you think I stole
I
it?
didn't look in depth at the background of the picture. I thought you were just up at the game store.
He was buying me the new Mystic Vale
Yes.
expansion.
Exactly. For the game that you still don't have in your possession.
Indeed.
Got to get that back, man.
I know.
Yep.
But he's busy. He got married and then decided to travel the world.
What an asshole.
What a dick.
Yeah, next up on news.
Next up on news, this article puts it weird, like no one knows who the Charterstone designer is. But Jamey Steigmaier is working on a open world exploration game, which he himself has compared to Seventh Continent, Time Stories, and Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Well, inspired by those three.
Inspired by.
Fully co-op and open world exploration. There's not a lot of information in the article. It's pulled largely from one of Jamey's Sunday sit-down videos that he does every Sunday, as well as something he talked about on the Co-op Cast podcast, where that's where he mentioned that some of its major influences were Zelda, Seventh Continent, Time Stories. He clarifies that he hasn't actually played Breath of the Wild.
I was going to be like, is he a video gamer?
But he has watched hundreds of hours of videos and was fascinated by open world elements of it.
Fair enough.
So.
You can definitely watch the shit out of that game.
I wonder if he's just like, now I'm just imagining him just watching a Let's Play of just some fucking YouTuber.
Which, we'll ask that.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Yeah.
We'll ask him, which YouTuber did you watch for Breath of the Wild?
Yeah. So it's going to be a preset world, but where you are playing at any given time is going to be a little bit variable, kind of like Seventh Continent. He said he's been designing it from scratch over about the last year, and thinks there's another year or so left before it's finished. So expect more details to slowly come.
Yes.
Jamey's usually pretty open on his videos and stuff, and hopefully Gen Con interview about where games are and what's coming and what they involve and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, indeed. If there's anyone I can trust to make a game that's not going to turn into what Adrian hates, which is Tales of Arabian Nights, it would be Jamey Steigmaier.
Correct.
Yeah. Which a lot of people are fearing this game might turn into, but I doubt that.
I do too. That's not his style.
No. Next up on news, Totally Not Sagrada has been announced by...
Jesus.
You're right, because there's no dice.
There's no dice. Azul, stained glass of Sintra. It looks like Sagrada.
It looks similar to it because it's the same sort of
Sagrada-esque.
Yeah.
And the fact stained glass.
Yes. But there are no dice in here like that one.
No.
It uses the same system for choosing tiles that Azul does with the different production zones where you pick. I can't tell if they change up, like maybe you don't take all of one color, maybe you do something different.
Right.
I can't really tell from this. And I can't tell if there's really player boards beyond the glass window, so I don't really see where you line tiles up to move on to a given frame. So I'm not sure.
There's spots underneath it, but yeah.
Yeah, but they don't.
But they're like, I don't know. We'll have to see it in.
Yeah. There's definitely needs to be a little bit more information.
It's coming out at Essen this year.
Yeah. But I saw a lot of people online that are like, "Oh man, this is ripping off Sagrada. They should, be so same." It's like
it's been a very angry
arms.
week on board game internet.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's got an MSRP of $40, and they say we'll take 30 to 40 minutes, which is about right where Azul is. So we'll see.
It looks nice. Next up on news is Jurassic Park: The Chaos Gene. I think we talked about this
way back when
they announced it. Just an announcement. But now there's like minis and details. Also, I think it was announced coming from Project Raygun. That seems to have been wiped. This is just coming from Mondo Games now.
Correct.
I haven't heard anything about Project Raygun going away, but I know their first big release was the Thing game. Which was not super well received, especially in quality of miniatures.
Yeah. It's real bad all around.
Well, it looks like they're continuing that trend, miniatures wise.
Not great on the
No.
the mini quality on this one. These 3D mock-ups look okay.
Well, the characters look fine. The Raptors are okay. The T-Rex is fucking awful.
Looks wrinkly.
Like, I can't tell if it's just a weird perspective issue.
It might be.
It's just an elderly T-Rex. That's all it is.
Kind of looks a little pudgy.
Yeah.
The tail's big. I don't know. It is just 3D mock-up, not really a final thing.
Yeah.
But they'll have the game out at San Diego Comic-Con this week. Coming out this fall. So it probably will be at Gen Con to look at, much like the thing was.
Which I'm hoping it's better than the minis look.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it sounds interesting. Like how the game actually works sounds interesting. You know,
Yeah,
if you have asymmetric.
Because you take roles as the dinosaurs or
You have a T-Rex, the Raptors, the park visitors, and the engine.
Okay.
So it's asymmetric.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
a dungeon crawl, so I'm imagining, what's that one from Simon with the little chibis?
Arcadia Quest?
Yeah, I'm imagining something more like that. You know, dungeon crawl, so you're running around trying to, be the first, to do different things.
But I mean,
I
you
can't
could-
imagine the T-Rex and the park visitors have anywhere near the same goals.
No, I'm sure
you
they're
could probably compare it more to Crystal Caverns
Vast.
Vast.
That's what I'm imagining. It's more like.
Hopefully
see.
that's what they're imagining too.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah, but I bet it'll be at Gen Con, hopefully a demo.
Mhm.
We can give
Oh,
it
and
a-
apparently the dinosaurs are different factions. I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah,
realize
that's
that.
what
yeah,
I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Raptors.
So, I mean, it says right here the T-Rex has one goal, eat.
Yeah, like I said,
Okay.
it's the T-Rex, the Raptors, the park visitors, and engine. There's up to 4 players, and they play different ones.
and,
Hence, like Vast.
but the other factions look like there's experience,
Mhm.
items, outfitting your teams, modular environment tiles.
Now,
But we don't really show any of that.
Is the T-Rex going to have an ability to just appear in buildings?
I certainly hope so. It's completely
Silently.
Yeah.
just like he opens up a portal. He has portal
Mm-hmm.
technology, and he just jumps through and helps out whoever's in need.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
As
it's
someone that-
it's literally established in the first movie, so that's just how it goes.
Yes.
Well, although I appreciated that, because I recently rewatched all of them,
Uh-huh.
reminding me how terrible most all of the Jurassic
Yeah.
Park series is.
Mhm.
And Jurassic Park
Incorrect opinion.
Jurassic Park 3,
Is the worst.
well, when the T-Rex
yeah.
does show up to
Mhm.
save the day and then gets his neck broken, because dinosaurs in that movie were crazy neck breaking
oh yeah,
animals.
yeah, they were very.
The T-Rex from that one is actually the T-Rex from the second movie, I think.
Yes.
And not the T-Rex from the first that
no,
Correct.
which is
Which
the,
the one
T-Rex in the fourth movie.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make
And
any
the
sense
fifth movie.
because
it's 2 different islands.
Two different
well,
islands.
no, because in the lore though, the first island, Isla Nublar,
got
got
napalmed.
fucking napalmed.
Yeah.
So that T-Rex should also be super fucking
But
dead.
that didn't happen in the movies.
Also, technically, it's like years past
Yeah.
from Jurassic Park to World.
Yeah.
So
They had to recapture all the dinosaurs.
Yep.
Build a new park.
you know what's the nice thing?
But the
They-
T-Rex
guess
somehow
what?
survived all
Guess
of
what?
that.
Yeah.
They've been able
It's a
to
goddamn-
resurrect dinosaurs before. I'm sure they just resurrected that same one.
Still
They're
got
just
the same
Scars and everything.
Hey,
Scars
you know
and
what? It's covered in napalm. I bet it looked very fossil-like. They're like, all right, let's just dig this shit back up. And
Jesus.
but because of the third movie, that's why the T-Rex is super like they because everybody got pissed that the Spinosaurus killed it. So that's why they're like, all right, T-Rex just wins everything.
The
So
T-Rex is the hero
Yeah.
of
To
Jurassic
be fair,
Park.
T-Rex on an island especially the
Mhm.
first island.
yeah,
It's gonna survive.
yeah,
Definitely the apex predator.
Yeah.
Of
Again,
everything.
not the napalming.
But that didn't happen in the movies.
Just because they didn't show it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
No,
Yeah,
it
it-
didn't.
yeah.
Should have still happened.
No,
No.
Anyway.
Anyways,
sorry. We just need to have a podcast where we just always talk about Jurassic Park because we can go into some
We could-
fucking tangents.
We could probably get a few episodes out of Jurassic Park
Mhm.
only.
next up on news, Spyfall is coming out with a third game,
Yes,
right? Spyfall Time Travel. Even though there was time travel in the first one,
it was. I mean,
there was one time travel.
Yeah, the Crusades.
Yes.
But now instead of
Was
asking,
it just LARPing the Crusades?
I would assume so. Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of asking where am I, the question is.
When am I?
And the question I have for them is why?
I was gonna say it should have been how am I?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so this seems like it is basically I mean
It's the same thing, but with new
it's
locations,
Spyfall with different locations
Yeah.
and they span time now.
which I'm not interested in this one at all.
Yeah.
It's sort of just like, what can we do to make new locations?
The art doesn't look super interesting in this one.
It's never really been about the
No,
art.
I mean, I've liked looking at the
To be
cards
fair,
before.
I want the setting of World War II tank battle.
Right?
Yeah. It's an interesting setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went back to just the one spy as well, so there's no other things like that.
Mhm.
Higher player counts, I think, had the extra spy
Yes, it did.
in them.
Well, and they don't show all of them yet, like all the different locations, but I feel like they need to make sure to not be super specific. Otherwise,
The Spanish Inquisition,
yeah,
Stonehenge.
no one's gonna expect that.
Robin
The f-
Hood's Merry Men.
The first
I
Olympics.
appreciate your
Is it-
joke, Zach.
Thank
I
you.
Did, I want you to know I did catch
Okay,
it. I just
yeah.
then moved on immediately.
That's fine.
A
That's,
hot air balloon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is this location fictitious? So I feel like they need to make sure that they're not too specific on them, or there's enough like overlapping details. Because it seems like some of these could be very specific to each other or to themselves versus like the first and second Spyfall.
Yeah, like I feel like the Black Plague is going to be a hard one to role play in a way that doesn't just immediately have everybody be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's a Black Plague."
I'm dying horribly.
How's your day going?
I'm dying. I'm dying.
I mean, that might be World War
I mean,
II
to be fair, that could
tank
be-
battle too.
World War II tank battle, French Revolution, Cannibal Tribe,
someone's about to cut my goddamn head off.
again Cannibal Tribe. So maybe it'll work.
Neanderthal times,
Yeah.
Spanish Inquisition, hot air balloon.
I mean,
You never know.
you never know.
You never know.
There's a spy in it.
There could be a
So-
murderer on that hot air balloon that you don't
Yes.
realize.
Someone murdering everyone.
Yeah, so that's Spyfall Time Travel.
Indeed.
If you need more unique and interesting places.
Apparently, people do because they keep making them.
Yep.
Yep.
And finally, on news, that Kickstarter Overturn.
I remember we talked about that.
We did.
Yeah, this is officially the closest that Mile High Game Guys has come at this point in our 2-year history of issuing a retraction.
Yes, because
We said this looked cool.
I mean, it,
it
looked
looks cool.
It does still look cool.
Yeah.
But it also seems to super be a scam.
super sketch.
It's-
Hashtag
sketch.
scamming,
It
as
has-
Paul would say.
Yes.
has recently come up as like a lot of people say it's all 3D composition minis and stuff like that. There are some actual minis at the bottom of the page, or
And I
that look
guess in
very
some of the videos, I
Yeah,
think they do show
which-
some minis.
yes, but the extreme majority of all of their pictures are not final models or anything like that.
Which usually, I mean, it's okay in that regard.
Which
I
we-
mean, that's always
Yeah,
a
exactly.
red flag for me. And I think I mentioned that when I talked
We-
about it. That
yes,
was
we
a
all-
red flag.
yes,
Yeah.
and because you said they didn't have any, and I was like, oh, there are a couple.
Yeah.
But yes,
However,
but
it is-
now
yeah, it came out. The first thing that I saw that kind of blew up about this one was somebody realized going through the rule book, they found because they didn't have a rule book for a long time, which is another thing I'd mentioned during that one. It's
Yes,
like, there's no
no rule
rules.
book.
I don't know. Well, then they released a rule book. And I don't know if they just assumed that all of the people who were like, hey, we want a rule book, were going to be like, oh, there's a rule book. Cool. I just take your word for it. No, of course they're going to read through it. And a lot of those people are people who just recently received their Massive Darkness pledges. And reading through it, some people noted some similarities.
Just bad timing.
Yeah.
which almost all of the rule book was.
I don't think it was almost all of it, but there were definite like entire sections that were straight copy pasted, like word for fucking word chapters of the rule book.
It's like we're just making Massive Darkness.
Yeah. And then, as if that wasn't enough, because then their answer to that was like, oh, it's an alpha, it's just a template, like it's gonna change, blah 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 blah. Which, first of all, that's a bullshit fucking excuse.
Mm-hmm.
But then somebody noticed that their Kickstarter bio is almost a word for word ripoff of Mythic Games Kickstarter bio. And then there was something else. I don't remember what it was, but there was another area. Oh no, one of their profiles, like the website or something for them, the like About Us section was basically like how our About Us section is on the website,
But not
where it was just all stock people.
right. Literally, they had a person or a picture that someone traced to a stock photo.
Yes. So just so much fucking dishonesty on this one. If you, for any reason, are backing Overturn, go fucking cancel that pledge. Like, as much as you can right now. It might be tough because of when this comes out, because I know Kickstarter has a weird rule about if your pledge would drop it below funding, they won't let you cancel it within 24 hours unless you talk to customer service. Which, granted, if you send customer service a couple screenshots of like, hey, these guys are plagiarizing dickholes, maybe they'll still let you cancel. they've been reported a bunch. CMON issued a DMCA takedown for plagiarism, and they're still there, and they are still super well funded. So it looks like they're gonna get a runaway with like $145,000. But hopefully enough people will back out that it will actually go under. But yeah, real unfortunate to see that level of bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they put up the rule book on like July 8th. Seems like there's a lot of comments going on the Kickstarter.
A surprising amount of fucking stupid people defending it. Like somebody on the Kickstarter has a comment where they said, Kickstarter means no risk, no fun, so I will probably stay in with my pledge. I like the idea of this game. When it is a really good game in the end, even better. Otherwise, I will resell it. We are not talking about a $1,000 investment here or something even bigger. Even if in the end they are not able to get the game delivered as described here, you lose some $100. Again, taking some risk is the idea behind Kickstarter.
I mean, he's not wrong, but still.
He's not wrong. This is a great example of you're not wrong, you're just stupid. Like, yes, that is the idea. And like that's a good reason to back if there's just red flags. When there's blatant examples of plagiarism and shady, shit, then that you kind of lose that leg to stand on.
Indeed.
So, yeah, fuck that. And I'm going to try and make a mental note that if I ever see another game by Foxtails Studios, to stay the fuck away.
I'm sure you won't, because they'll rename themselves and use some other fake profiles.
And then it'll be fine.
Which is another reason to be skeptical of first-time creators. If they're not, like, someone who at least has some kind of well-known connections or industry stuff. Again, not necessarily a reason, back first-time creators, like, that's cool, but that's like a yellow card. It's like, hey, just, there's a lot of things that could go wrong with a first-time creator. They're not necessarily scamming. They're just inexperienced. But Overturn, super scamming.
Super scam.
That's it for news.
News is over. Do you have any more Jurassic Park news, Zach?
No.
Okay.
Not right now.
This is where I wish we had a soundboard that had, like, either the raptor or the T-Rex. So while you were sitting there waiting, I could just be like, dinosaur sound.
You should... I mean, that sounds pitch perfect right there. I close my eyes. I feel like I'm watching the movie.
Yes.
I don't feel like that's true.
I learned a fun fact the other day that Jurassic Park only has 8 minutes of computer-generated imagery in it.
Thank you, Slack channel.
Yeah.
Because I posted that.
Yeah, he posted that. But he learned it to post.
Learn it
and
there,
then,
that's where I posted it.
Yeah, and it's...
I didn't remember who posted it. I remember seeing it in the Slack channel.
It was me.
Because Andrew was asking about it.
And the best use of their CGI is when it was the nighttime T-Rex thing, because it's dark.
Yeah.
So it's they can hide the sloppy textures.
Yeah, and the kitchen velociraptors.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep.
Which weren't all.
No, there's a lot of practical.
No, there's practical effects in the newest one too. But
yeah, I think Jurassic Park is a great example of a good blend of practical and special effects.
Yep.
So
for most part, yeah, there are still some CG things in the big middle part with the Gallimimuses. Those look dated.
Yeah.
It was daytime.
Even I think some of the brontosauruses or brachiosauruses, same difference.
No.
Yes, they are, because brontosaurus isn't a real thing.
I know, exactly.
Brachiosauruses.
Exactly. So they're not brontosauruses aren't real. It's just brachiosaurus. I know. I'm saying the word. Yeah. And also, yeah.
Anyhow, some of those looked a little dated as well in the daylight there with the poor textures.
Yep.
But then some of the practical effects look goofy, like the raptor that eats Muldoon, that the clever girl raptor, and it's like, that's clearly just like a doll.
Spoilers for Jurassic Park, by the way.
Spoilers.
Jesus Christ.
It's been 25 goddamn years.
That is so far past the acceptable timeline for spoilers.
King Kong dies at the end.
That movie came out
1921.
The beast.
I think.
The Peter Jackson one?
Yeah.
Jesus. When did the Xbox 360 came out? That was a launch game.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
Anyways, that wraps up news, and we can move on to Kickstarters
Indeed,
to keep this train moving, because it is a long fucking train.
First up on not Kickstarters is actually an Indiegogo.
We don't cover a lot of stuff on Indiegogo.
No.
Mostly because I don't think any of the three of us really use it.
Nope.
And most board games go to Kickstarter.
Indeed.
So, but here we are.
But this one's for a good cause. 14 board games from Africa. This one has gotten 15% of its goal, $1,800 of its $12,000 goal, for 14 a large variety of African-based games, like board games that were originated
Yeah.
in Africa. You can get all 14 games for $177, but there are many different combinations of all of these different games, and pretty much everything from $15 all the way up to the aforementioned $177.
Yeah, so this is coming from the same people who organized the
board game
convention we were
right,
talking
yeah.
about before in Nigeria. That has been quite a success. They are working on getting these games that are African designed and made distributed out to the world, and they have a variety of different pledge levels. If you want to get all of them, it is going to run you $177 plus shipping. They are limiting that to 20, so there's not many of those left if you wanted to get in on that. Otherwise, they have essentially they have the games broken down into big, medium, small, and educational. And it looks like the numbers, they don't have a good breakdown of how many of each there are. But they have different levels that are about, like, you could get 5 copies of one of the big games, or you get 2 big games and 1 small game, 1 big, 1 medium, and 1 small. So just depending on what you kind of want, they've got a bunch of different tiers that will help you kind of customize what you're looking to get. So,
well, and part of this is they're trying to open up a tabletop cafe.
They want to
Nigeria.
use the profits to open
Yep.
a board gaming cafe in Nigeria. So yeah, go check it out. It's kind of a good cause. And these guys, they've consistently used donations and support well with running the convention.
Yep.
Out there, and so feel they're solidly trustworthy, and
like you said, good cause.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's expand like that convention was the first one in West Africa, so just getting board games out into the world. Good.
Yeah. Plus, as I've talked about, like with getting all the Emperor S4 games recently, it's interesting to see how different parts of the world have different takes on board games. The board game industry has been so thoroughly dominated by American and European influences. It's cool to see how other cultures approach gaming and the kind of unique takes they have on even the more traditional mechanisms. So I'm a fan. Go check it out. That's 14 board games from Africa over on Indiegogo.
Yeah. Next up on Kickstarter, because we're now on Kickstarter, is Black Orchestra Conspirator Packs. Very well funded, 48,000 of its $5,000 goal, over 2,000 backers, but only about a week left to go, and you can pledge this for $9. So this is really just a small expansion that adds in. Maybe in the original Kickstarter these were available, but I never saw the original Kickstarter. So if you want Black Orchestra in general, you can get that here as well for $55
with both expansions,
with both the new Conspirator Packs.
Yeah. So essentially, these add new characters that you can play as. They're still working on some of them. They don't have all of the art up for all the people they're adding, but they're kind of a mix of the different normal factions and things like that.
Military intelligence, and civilian.
Yeah, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward Kickstarter. This one, Black Orchestra successfully completed and delivered, so and
is awesome.
Done this before.
You get to kill Hitler.
Yeah.
You get to try and kill Hitler most of the time. But some of these actual conspirator roles are pretty interesting. There's some that actually can't go to Reckless to try and do any of like the Reckless plots and things like that. Some of the roles will like allow you to ignore illegal cards when there's a Gestapo raid, or you get a free die added to the descent track whenever it's your turn. Just kind of a lot of little pieces that throw in more roles that involve different mechanics of the game that weren't in that first round.
Yep.
Maybe some more civilians. There wasn't a lot of civilians in the first game. I think it was like maybe 2, 3.
Yeah. But this currently they only show 2 new ones.
Yeah.
So, but more is always good.
More is good, especially for a fantastic game that is Black Orchestra.
Yep.
Next up on Kickstarter is Jetpack Joyride, the board game, not the app, which I've played a lot. Very well funded, 69,000 of its $8,000 goal, over 1,300 backers, and about 2 weeks left to pledge this one, which you can for about $25, or like the vast majority, $39 for the deluxe edition.
Yep. So Jetpack Joyride is going to play 1 to 4 players and takes about 20 minutes. And you are going to be using all these pentominoes, which are like polyominoes, but they all have 5 little squares arranged in various shapes. And you're going to be using these to like move along the board and like plan out the rocket path that you're playing as you move through. So essentially it plays over 3 rounds, and each round you draw lab cards, and then you grab tiles from the common pool and lay them out to start tracing your way through the board. Yeah, and so although it's in real time, it's not timed.
It's not timed, yeah.
Which I'm not entirely sure how that super works.
Maybe they mean like you're doing it at the same time.
Yeah. Which, yeah, it's, I don't know, did I say it was a cooperative game? I feel like I said it was cooperative.
I don't think you did say it was cooperative.
Maybe I had that in my brain because I saw something that seemed like that. It's not. You're each basically playing your own solo game of Jetpack Joyride. And whoever gets out first wins.
Whoever,
or no, first player out triggers the end of the round.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you get draft gadgets at the end of the round, and then you
they give you special abilities that ignore like the lasers or missiles, etc. in the game. Looks like they're going to have a lot of the like same vehicles that they had in the app. The Prophet Bird, which was always my favorite. It was just a weird, I don't know. It was kind of like Flappy Bird. Is that what that nightmare was?
Yes.
Okay. It's like that, but it attracts all the coins to you.
Oh, gotcha.
And this was long before the Flappy Bird, by the way.
Right.
App-wise. This was way back in the day. Maybe not that far, but I always enjoyed it.
I did not play it at all.
Yeah, I have not played it either. But yeah, seems like a pretty light little game. Might be fun, especially if you like playing things where you lay down the
I like playing things.
The pentominoes. I was trying to think, like, because that's I'm not used to the pentomino. I'm used to polyomino.
But the deluxe version comes with the vehicle expansion, the Lucky Berry expansion, and the solo campaign expansion.
And then the
which looks like it's just a book of puzzles.
Yeah. And then it comes with 1 or 2 more pieces too. And then the collector's one comes with a 100mm Berry Mini.
Yeah.
Or whatever that guy's name is.
Yes.
Which is Berry.
Okay.
Yeah. This company has released a whole bunch of different games, but I think he's been like the character in them or something.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. It is nice. The collector's one does come with a dry erase board for the score sheet instead of just pages.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jetpack Joyride.
Yeah.
Go check that out if that sounds interesting.
Next up is Rurik, Dawn of Kiev. Just funded 60,000 of its $50,000 goal, 840 backers, and about 2 weeks left to go. And you can pledge this one for $69 for the regular edition, $89 for the metal coin edition.
Ooh.
Which is just metal coins.
Yes. it's just metal coins.
Yeah.
But it's metal coins.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Rurik plays 1 to 4 players, and it is a Euro-style realm-building game that features area control, resource management, and a new mechanic that they are calling auction programming.
What does that mean?
So with the auction programming mechanic, there is a central strategy board where you openly bid for actions with your advisors, and higher number advisors earn greater benefits, but lowered numbered advisors resolve actions sooner. So yeah, I'm not entirely I don't know how they feel like that's a new mechanic. I feel like that's something that's existed before. But yeah, you can also use coins to make your advisors stronger, where they still resolve the benefits of their printed number. So you could use the money to make up the extra for using a low level guy who would trigger early. But I don't see how they feel it. Like, I don't see why that's the programming. Yeah.
But buzzword for the Kickstarter?
I guess.
Buzzwords.
Yeah.
Synergy.
Yeah. Then after you do all that bidding, you resolve your actions, which will let you do a bunch of different things, like moving troops around and fighting other players. You can also clear the different lands that you're in of rebels, which will earn you coins and goods.
Which seems to be like you don't fight each other, you both like fight rebels instead or something.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you work together to fight the rebels or if, like, just on my turn, instead of attacking you, Jeff, I could be like, I'm going to go clear rebels instead.
Yeah.
Then at the end of each round, you advance on one of 3 different tracks. One of them is the number of lands you have controlled. One of them is the number of things you have built in, and then the other one is trade-based, and it's how many goods you have on your boats. Each different tier is worth more and more points, and you play 4 rounds, and at the end of those 4 rounds, whoever has the most points. There are apparently some other hidden points, like secret agendas and things you can earn, like deeds or from warfare, but the main points are from those 3 categories: ruling, building, and trading. Yeah.
They do seem to have a pretty decent rule book on the page that's pretty fleshed out in there.
It's a good example of a alpha rule book that isn't a plagiarized piece of shit.
Correct. It actually looks like a rule book. And then there's a bunch of like YouTube people that have played the game.
Yep. So go check it out if you want more information. There's some videos from like Man vs. Meeple and Tantrum Mouse that go over how to play, and go check all of that out. There is free shipping for the US, China, and Hong Kong. So
Indeed.
And only $6 to Canada.
Yeah.
Australia still gets fucked.
Yes. But they are subsidizing a little bit of shipping.
Yeah. Still $20.
Yeah.
But
It is what it is.
Indeed.
yeah,
They can only do so much.
that's Rurik, Dawn of Kiev. Go check it out.
Next up on Kickstarter is Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy. Very well funded, $480,000 of its $150,000 goal. Over 3,500 backers, but less than 2 weeks left to pledge this one, which you can for $100, or like almost everyone else, $149 for the game and all of the expansion ship grades and stretch goals, etc. Because you don't get stretch goals on the main, the $100.
No.
You just get the base game stretch goals.
Yes, but you miss out on some with
Stretch goal expansions.
Yes, but like there's over like 2,500 backers for the $150 one.
So Eclipse first came out back in 2011, and I remember pretty distinctly, like, you know, I was listening to old episodes of Secret Cabal back before we started this show, and one of their early episodes was them talking about how freaking expensive Eclipse was and how that like blew people away back in the day when it dropped at like $110.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now people are like, oh, $110? Yeah, it's about normal for a game.
It's got minis, right?
Yeah. Yeah, which this one had spaceships. Bunch of little spaceship pieces.
Yes.
But it was all they were all the same until the ship
Yes.
pack.
Yes.
Yes.
It's just a lot of wood pieces too.
So, but it was definitely kind of a 4X Euro. A lot of people at the time compared it to Twilight Imperium and basically were like, this is the Euro version of Twilight Imperium, which I could see. I don't think it's the strongest analogy, but
I would
gives
really
you
agree
an
with it,
idea.
It did have really cool ship customization though.
Yes.
That was the best part of it.
It was the original game that had a bunch of cubes that all had to be in exact precise positions, and if you bumped the table and it scooted them all over, and you were like, well, fuck me. This is an updated edition, so they actually went through and updated the rules and kind of combined all of the previous expansions, which was really, there's one expansion and then ship packs, but it brought all that together. They say they thoroughly revised a bunch of content, incorporated material from expansions, and have really updated the game. It is now a 2 to 6 player game, whereas before, I think with the expansions, it could be a 2 to 9 player game, which was just excessive.
Yeah.
60 to 200 minutes.
Per
but-
player.
Not quite. But yeah, so the new game includes double-sided species boards, which are way nicer looking
Oh my
than
God.
the old ones.
Those trays are really nice.
Yeah, they've way updated the art. They've got actual miniatures for all of the ancient ships and defense system and things, which were previously just tiles that were on the board. They've got 108 different ship miniatures. It looks like they are still...
The ship pack ones.
oh, yeah, they are. So
Yeah.
they are different ones. In 6 different player colors, which looks like it's gray, red, blue, green, yellow, and black. So maybe not the greatest spread of color choices, but since they're unique ships, you know, there shouldn't be really a whole lot of issues with being able to tell which ships are which. just a ton of different tech tiles, ship parts, sector hexes, discovery tiles, all those kinds of things. They are keeping a lot of the things like ambassadors and reputation. They've got specific species trays with lids that track your cubes and actually hold them in place and look fantastic. They're from Game Trays, who've done awesome work for terraforming Mars. They've got an actual tech tray that holds tech pieces.
I mean,
upgrade, like they went all out with the trays.
I'm liking all of the companies. Like Panasaurus did it with the Wasteland Delivery Service. Mechs vs. Minions did it too, where like the entire game is designed with the trays in mind.
Yeah.
So instead of an afterthought, like Terraform Mars and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah. So tons and tons of upgraded and better components and equipment.
And you can spend $10 to get a light detail wash on them too.
Yeah.
For all the ships. That's
an add-on.
Yeah.
It's a weird add-on.
The $149 pledge includes 108 different human ships. So like basically each like one set of human ships in each player color. So you could,
for what I remember, it's one side is a human side and one side like different factions and the other ones are aliens.
Yeah, that's how it was in the base game. I don't know if that's still true. I assume so. But yeah, so anybody who decides to play human could all have the same human style ships if you wanted to.
And then it comes with the promo packs that they had over the years too. So
yeah, they've unlocked a bunch of stretch goals for different tech and things like that that'll come out. Sector hexes, upgrades, all kinds of stuff. Tons and tons and tons of content. I even really like the monolith miniatures.
Yeah, those look good. So yeah, if you wanted to get Eclipse,
yeah, if you've been
now's
thinking
the
about
time.
if I didn't already own it, this would be probably an insta-back for me. Since I own it, it's a little bit trickier. I wish they had like an upgrade pledge where you got all of the cool bits and pieces, but without maybe the game.
I mean, it seems like you'd be adding you'd be getting so much stuff that at what point.
And that's kind of how I feel.
And it does say March 2019 for shipping. So
which probably shouldn't be too hard to
to
actually meet, considering it's a new edition of an existing
Exactly,
game.
yeah.
They're not doing a game from the ground up. And like a lot of the miniatures and things are already done. Like they already did the ship pack in the past, so they've got the models. They just got to tweak them and update them a bit. So, but yeah, it's being done by Colossal Games, which is pretty cool. Colossal's doing a lot of cool stuff lately. So that's Eclipse, Second Dawn for the Galaxy. Go check it out.
Shipping is not great.
No, it's
it's a huge box.
Yeah, $20 for the deluxe edition
To the United
US.
States.
So, like, even if they hand it to you, it still probably costs them $5.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're gonna need to pay me to hand you this. Hazard pay.
Well, because they might blow out their back.
That's true. Speaking of blowing out your back, last up on Kickstarters is Cthulhu: Death May Die. This has made a lot of money because it's a CMON game.
And it's a Cthulhu game. And it's a Rob Daviau game and an Eric Lang game.
Yes. $1.9 million on its $200,000 goal. Almost 12,000 backers. But this one had a short pledge of only 2 weeks, which only a couple days remains by the time you hear this. You can pledge this one for $100 or, like a lot of many thousands of others, $250
if you want one mini.
If you want one
quote unquote mini
thing that is big.
If you something that you can use a toddler for a reference point.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everything about this is ridiculous. There's
excess.
This is CMON jumping the shark for me. Like, they've been approaching this. I'm not surprised that they've reached this point, but here it is.
Apparently, so
just because of the mini, or what else?
The Rylith Rising expansion, which is the giant, massive Cthulhu, is Kickstarter exclusive. But then there is also the Investigator you can get in the $100 pledge level as well.
Yeah, no, it's just everything. Going all in on a Cthulhu theme, which I feel has been done to frickin' death. The giant mini, the short pledge to like just really encourage the FOMO.
I mean, they've done that.
Yeah, I mean, this
times.
is the culmination of all of that. Like, they've just been building up to this completely ridiculous campaign.
On top of that, there are optional buys of like a season 2 expansion, which has Kickstarter exclusive stuff in it. Yeah. Anyway, what is this game?
I have no idea.
I feel like anybody who would be interested in the game
Doesn't matter.
would already know about the game.
Who cares what's in it? I want it. Looks like the general gist is if you've ever played Arkham Horror or Mansions of Madness, or not Mansions of Madness, Eldritch Horror or Arkham Horror, when you inevitably fail and the Elder God awakens and you just have to straight up, or the Ancient One awakens, you have to fight it. That's this game.
Well, no. So I finally found it. I had to scroll a little ways to find the description. So the Elder Ones all start the game off the board, and then they move along a summoning track. That is them growing in chaos and growing in power and bringing more chaos and insanity into the world. Eventually, they will cross over into the world. If you have managed to disrupt the ritual, they're actually vulnerable and can be defeated. If you have not disrupted the ritual by that point, you now have to contend with an immortal behemoth hunting you while you try to accomplish other tasks.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So that's the general idea. I don't know for sure how you actually play.
I would guess it's just similar to a lot of their other co-op ones. What was that one
There's
called?
different episodes they hint at here. 6 episode boxes with unique cards that kind of go along with that. Discovery cards and things that are all unique to each actual episode.
Reminds me of a bit of the others in that regard.
Yeah. And that's just from the base set. All of the expansion stuff will add even more expansion content for new scenarios and whatnot.
As is tradition, all of the miniatures look amazing.
Yeah, Simon does do great minis. I will full on give them massive credit for that.
All of the examples here are all painted, however, which makes them look even better, but they are definitely not when you buy them. Apparently the Rylith Rising is its own special scenario.
Yeah, it's the
finale.
It's the finale, and you play on it on the base.
The base of it is the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's because when Adrian first saw it, he was like, "What's the fucking point of it? Like, how can you even put it on the table?" And it's because that's the entire
That's the point.
That's the point.
Yes.
Yeah, they've got a rule book up, so if you are actually interested in more details of how the game actually plays, because you're actually interested in it, you can check that out there. Shipping is reasonable.
I mean, it's the same amount usually that they do.
Ridiculously, it's a lot of shit, so it makes sense that this shipping is kind of high.
Usually $10 to $20 for US. Yeah.
Yeah. $50 for Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico. Africa's $95. Jesus Christ. 20 to 45 to Australia. So Australia, you can actually get it cheaper than Alaska or Hawaii. Congratulations. Yeah, whole bunch of stuff. So if you're into Cthulhu and you're into cool Cthulhu minis, this might be right up your alley.
Indeed.
If you're like me and find Cthulhu yawn-inducing, and I do like cool minis though, but
yeah.
I just don't. I would be interested in trying this one out, but I don't have the available funds for this, so I didn't even consider it.
Yeah, it's sort of just, it's too much. It's cool that it's co-op.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot. You got $100 to spend, and then maybe $150 for the season 2 expansion, and then maybe $250. Well, then it's $300 at that point for the extra crazy mini.
Yep.
And have also, we didn't really mention, right now, if you pledge for the crazy big miniature, you're not getting that shit until
like 2020,
April 2020. Right now.
Yeah. They keep doing it in waves.
April 2020 for
and that one, and that's just for everybody else because they had a bunch of
I mean like you got in earlier.
100 to 200 $100 mini budget,
like 220 to 250, and then they're just like, all right, here's one last one.
So after not doing early bird pricing for a while, they're like, oh, we're gonna go back to it.
Yeah, and it was decent, like $30 off.
Yeah.
So
that's Cthulhu: Death May Die.
Yep.
Go check that out if that's something you think
quickly,
sounds cool.
Because it's going to end soon.
Yep, only a couple days left. We're done. Well, that wraps up news and Kickstarter. Which brings us over to the listener feedback section of the show. And holy shit, is there a lot of listener feedback. So buckle in.
It's good that we just read all those emails immediately.
Some of these reference all of those emails.
Yes.
Probably why we have so many emails.
Yes. So, Jeff, you want to start off with those emails?
Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email. This first one comes from Derek, titled South Dakota Listeners, which I assume means 2. as in 2 people live in South Dakota.
That's got to be a pretty major part of the population there.
Indeed. Hey, MHGGs. It's been a good while since I emailed you, but the recent email from Nick from Sioux Falls, South Dakota convinced me to reach out once again. The good news is that you have at least 2 listeners from the very mediocre state of South Dakota, though I am hesitant to mention it. I played the catch-up game on your podcast over a year ago, and I'm glad I got finished before you became the most podcast. Now I'm able to keep up. Barely.
That's a real problem.
I have been attending medical school just south of Sioux Falls and have had plenty of times when board games have had to come to a halt for weeks at a time. During that time, your podcast and a few select others have kept me in the loop and kept life at least mildly entertaining.
That's what we strive for.
Indeed.
Mildly entertaining.
I now have an hour commute each way to my clinical site, and I'm grateful that you are indeed the most podcast because my feed is never empty. Thanks for the quantity content that you continue to produce, Derek. Continuing on. This next email comes from Patrick, titled Email for Jeff. Dear Jeff, sometimes you have trouble reading emails, so this is in phonetics. As always, Patrick.
That's what it says.
That's what it says.
And it's written.
That's not what it looks like.
Nope.
It's written in phonetics, which is apparently a typeface, I think, not a font. Maybe it is a font.
So, question: did you just translate?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I read it, and
Yeah.
then I knew what it said,
Okay.
and then that's what I said.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Like sometimes is spelled S upside down E
Upside down and backwards E.
upside down backwards E MTAYMZ. Sometimes.
Yeah. Dear Jeff is lowercase d, small capital I, lowercase r, and then J with a caret, weird E. That's like a reverse
Backwards 3. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
F.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Patrick, for the help in getting Jeff to be able to pronounce things correctly.
Indeed. Nailed it. Next up on emails is from Jonathan, titled Brains and Shit. Hello, M. Hi, G guys. I was listening to last Wednesday's episode, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear from Nick in South Dakota that I was not the only person who had listened to the podcast while culturing brain cells.
2 connections to Nick, and
Indeed.
both different.
Indeed.
Yes. That officially means you're popular, Nick.
Yeah. When you started this podcast, was having people listen to you talk in 2 separate neuroscience labs a thing that you thought might happen?
I mean, I didn't think it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't something I thought about.
It didn't come up
No.
in those conversations.
I mean, I knew it would be a lab, but it
Yeah.
had to be a science lab. I just wasn't sure if it was neuro or like a muscle. Muscle science lab. That's what I was leaning towards.
Muscles.
Yep.
Yes.
No, not muscles. Just the one.
Just the one. Just a heads up for Nick, in case you haven't discovered this on your own already. Here's a list of lab activities MHGG is not appropriate to listen to during, although they would all have been entries for the things you can do in less time than listen to MHGG. Contest. Had I not already owned Champions of Midgard. 1. Making your own electrodes with ultra-thin wire and a soldering iron. 2. Performing brain surgery on rats to install said electrodes into their brains. 3. Cutting the brains of said rats into 30 nanometer thick sections on an ultra microtome to view under an electron microscope. Laughing during any of these activities will ruin all of your work, so I had to listen to episodes of more serious podcasts instead. I assume something involving murder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of murder podcasts.
Yeah, it's either comedy or murder. Like that's pretty much it.
That's how we pitched this. We were like, well, we're going to talk about board games or murder.
Yeah.
And that's really we threw the murder in there for a while too.
Yeah. I think Adrian convinced us to not talk about murder.
Okay.
Because I think he would have gotten worried or something like that.
Yeah. I was like,
What local murders have you committed, Zach?
I mean, none that I can remember.
Yeah.
I plead the 5th.
Just get drunk and then just see what the night night brings.
See where it takes me.
Yeah.
Just wake up next to a dead deer.
Yep.
For most lab work, however, having the most podcast available is a fantastic thing. You can only pipette the same solution into 96 different wells, remove it, and then add it to the next solution of those 96 wells so many times before losing your mind if you don't have something else to focus on.
I feel like after the one time, like
Yeah.
that's when you start to lose your mind.
Yes. Also, random correction from who the fuck knows what episode, but I just remembered it. The scoring system where it goes 1, 3, 6, 10, 15 that Adrian was adamant didn't have a name definitely does have a name. That was very recent, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, basically, I was like, it was like
we even
factorial.
tried-
Yeah, I was like, it's factorials, but with adding. That's how I described it, because I was like, that's what it is, but I just don't know what the name for that is.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I was adamant that it didn't have a name. I was very adamant that I didn't know of any name for it.
Indeed.
But sure.
It's called triangular scoring because it's based on a triangular as opposed to square numbers. The best way to explain it is think of how bowling pins are set up. If you take the first row, you have 1 pin. The first and second is 3. All 4 is 10. And if you added a 5th row, you would get 15. It's a pretty common game design concept, and a lot of people use it as a starting point for balance, even if it gets modified by the time the game comes out. For example, the scoring system for track lays in Ticket to Ride is a slightly modified triangular scoring system that stretches out the sequence to make shorter track lays slightly less valuable 1, 2, 4, 7, 10, 15. Anyways, thanks for making advances in brain science possible through survival of monotonous activity. Jonathan.
It's a great email.
It's our pleasure to do
Yes.
that.
That's easily another one of my favorite emails that we've ever gotten.
Mm-hmm.
But not
It was informative. It
Yeah.
had jokes.
We've advanced science by entertaining bored scientists.
Yeah.
Correct. Mile High Game guys stimulating brain cells.
Let's just hope somehow he gets a Nobel Prize or something, and he's just like, I would like to thank the Mile High Game guys.
Oh my god! If any of our listeners ever win a Nobel, you have to thank us in your speech.
I don't think that we have those kind of listeners.
Whoa.
They can't listen to podcasts. They're too busy making peace in the world, writing a book.
I
And-
mean, there's all kinds of science that'll get you a Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Guess.
It's not just peace.
I know. There's science
The Nobel
prizes.
Peace Prize is just
Do we
one
know-
of the many Nobel prizes.
Do we know anyone that did the fucking what was the ultra high energy particle?
particle
starts-
accelerator?
No, they just caught one
Higgs boson?
in
Quark.
Antarctica.
Let's just start throwing science terms at you.
No, these are wrong. Neutron? High energy neutron?
Neutrino?
High energy neutrino.
I don't think we do.
They just actually caught one recently, so they were actually able to look back at where it came from. And those guys are probably going to win a science ass prize this year.
Science ass prize.
Yeah. They have some huge facility down in Antarctica to just try and catch one because they go so fast and are so small. They just rip through whatever without actually touching anything, and they finally got one.
Yeah.
So maybe one of those people listens to the Mile High Game guys in Antarctica,
Maybe.
and they will be winning a science ass prize. Make sure you put a hyphen in there. Science ass prize. Science ass. Jonathan has a part B email that he remembered after he sent A. So
Immediately.
immediately. Also cool runnings. Hey, Mile H Game G's. By the way, there are 2 to the power of 4 equals 16 possible combinations of word/initial. I think I'm personally up to 6 now.
So I just want to clarify that when I said that there are 4, I just meant I was being
Spots.
vague. Well, and then the fact because he was only replacing one, he only used
No.
one word
Yes.
or one letter. So I was like, there's only 4 for that. I was being vague. So
Gotcha.
that's
Yeah.
why I'm okay with being wrong in that regard because
enough.
I wasn't being specific, but I wanted to clarify.
Your unspecific
yeah.
specificity.
Yes.
Anyway.
Right after I sent that last email, I remembered the other thing from the episode I wanted to comment on. Cool runnings. It looks like a remake of a 1972 game called Ice Cube. It had similar mechanisms, including putting salt on your guy, dumping him in a water bath, and putting a washer on his head to make him melt faster due to the weight. Flip the Table reviewed it in episode 90, and it sounds way more fun to play than it should be. Give it a listen if you want some detailed thoughts on the original game and probably also professional wrestling, which gets talked about in most episodes.
Yes, which is also came up on Twitter. I can't remember it.
Board Game Blitz.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it was Crystal.
Yeah.
Called out the
Yeah, one of the ones
Flip
that are
the
still
Table
on
people,
the
and we're like,
the
hey,
podcast.
This just came up. My high game guys just brought this to my attention.
I assume they
similar
had
to this older
chit-chatted
game.
about this game before.
Yes.
And we had just brought it to attention.
Back in episode 90, they talked about the old game. Because that was the whole thing with Flip the Tables. I reviewed old terrible games.
I see.
Which is a fun concept.
Indeed.
Next email.
Next one comes from Andrew, the hater. Viking funerals and idiots who believe Hollywood. Points at Adrian.
Don't believe Hollywood.
Let's say you want to burn a corpse. Maybe,
okay, good start.
Maybe Adrian, after a podcast vote goes too far.
Like I said, when he directed us away from murder. So
it's true. Let's say you want to do the full Viking funeral and put Adrian's body in a wooden ship.
Wait. Why is it all of a sudden me being the one who's dead?
Because you're the one that's dead.
Yeah.
See,
he just needs an example. So
I thought the first one.
Example.
Maybe I'm the one who wants to burn a corpse after a podcast vote goes too far.
Example A. Example Adrian.
Yeah, this just shows you don't understand podcast votes.
That's true.
Well, I thought you guys would vote me out on something. It would infuriate me. I'd kill you, and now I need to burn a body.
No.
Yeah, it's 2-on-1. That's not going to happen. We got height advantage.
Yeah.
I know where the weapons are in this home.
But maybe it doesn't have to happen in this home.
Yeah.
But if I'm attacking you enraged after a podcast vote, it's probably going to be in this room.
We'd have prep time.
Yeah, we'd have prep time. Maybe you're just listening to Nickelback at work, and then all of a sudden...
Oh my God. This joke has gone too far. Jeff, I fucking hate you.
Not far enough. Anyways, let's say you want to do a full Viking funeral and put Adrian's body in a wooden ship, set it out to sea, and then launch flaming arrows to set the boat on fire. What would happen? Well, assuming that you idiots don't miss, the top side of the boat might catch on fire. If you're lucky, Adrian's body would cook a little bit. But you know what puts out fires? Water. Fucking water. Like the fucking water the boat is fucking floating on. If you're lucky again, the boat sinks and Adrian's charred body comes to rest on the seafloor a few hundred yards out. If you're unlucky, the charred husk of a boat and Adrian's disease-ridden remains float back to shore.
Jesus Christ.
And now you have to find some other way of dealing with them. No thanks. So how did the Norse peoples actually dispose of their glorious dead? Well, yes, for the highest of high nobles, they burned them in boats on fucking land, where they could shove tons of firewood underneath the boat and actually make sure the body is goddamn properly cremated. Or maybe they would bury the body on land in a boat, but boats, as they are now, are fucking expensive. So probably even for most chiefs, they would just they would bury the body, then put stones around the grave to make the shape of a boat, or to drop the whole boat motif, because a lot of Norse peoples didn't do that much Viking. They would just bury them with all their most precious belongings and build a small hill or tumulus over the grave. But then eventually they Christianized, stopped sending people out to Vike and started burying their dead like all the other Christians. You may say that's boring, but I say there was much less rape and murder of slave girls to get buried or cremated with the dearly departed chief. And I'm okay with that, you sick bastards. Anyway, I hope this finds you all well, especially Adrian. Yours truly, the hater.
That little, especially Adrian, doesn't make up for the fact that you used me as the corpse in this entire scenario.
Well, it was just an example, Adrian.
You were clearly the chief that we wanted to send out in the most glorious of fires.
Is what he believes, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a better way to make up for it.
But he didn't.
He did not.
Because he didn't see a need to.
And this one comes from Taylor, who had the Friday email of the
giveaway
award.
Yeah, well, who had the really long one with the bad gamer.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And how we kept her sane after that person was a terrible asshat.
Yes. I wonder if that car's still there. Hey, MHGG team. Thanks for the shout on Friday's episode. Here's my address, etc. I won't read it out. I can't believe I mixed up who did the original prepared statement when I 100% went into the episode thinking you were announcing the end of the podcast and then cracked up when Jeff very seriously announced the exact opposite.
Oh.
And the 2017 Arrested Development Awards. Sorry about that. I was working close enough to the Canadian border that Verizon sporadically billed me international rates every other time I touched my phone, so I relied on my memory instead of re-downloading the episodes. That was a pretty dick move on my part to not double check. Each of you brings something awesome to the table, awesome and different to the table. Send me a good return address, something, blah, 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 stay valid, highest res, etc. I don't really dig Patreon, but I'd love to send you guys the game I mentioned, City of Spies, to try it out, or gift to someone at game night if it ends up not being your thing, and maybe something cool on my CNC. I don't know what that is.
The cutter.
I can't remember what the actual name of what CNC stands for, but they're basically a really fancy, like, they can do a bunch of different things. Like hers does wood. The machine shop I used to work in did steel, but they move around and cut patterns into things.
If your logo translates well to wood. So maybe we'll get a sweet wood carved logo. I don't know.
You know what? I'm okay with.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Computer numerical control.
Sure.
CNC machining is a process used in the manufacturing sector that involves the use of computers to control machine tools.
I remember that in middle school, yeah.
Yeah. Tools that can be controlled in this manner include lathes, mills, routers, and grinders.
Fun fact.
Yep.
Keep crushing it, guys. Taylor.
Well, thank you very much, Taylor.
Indeed.
That's it for emails.
All of the emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Now the emails are complete. We can move on to Paulo's YouTube corner, in which he points out that Estoril is a city in Portugal, where Paulo's from. Where else? Known for being a spy nest during the World War II, hence Estoril, City of Spies.
Was a good follow-up to that email.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good you didn't read that before the email.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Paulo, for updating us on the Portuguese geography that we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know about Lisboa, and now the area, and that's it.
And now this.
And now Estoril. But I don't know where Estoril is. I'll have to look at a map.
I bet it's in pandemic Iberia. Very southwest, west of Lisboa.
Oh, yeah. Not very far from Lisboa. Cool. I now know where Estoril is. That concludes the listener feedback because, Zach, I don't believe we had any new BGG responses or anything, did we?
No.
Cool. We did, however, have 2 new patrons. So huge thanks to David, who has pledged $2, thus avoiding the epic tongue lashing by Jeff. Thank you, David, for supporting the show. We really appreciate that.
Yes, we do.
Rock. Then we also have a pledge from Scott, who did only pledge $1. So let him have it, Jeff.
Do we know which Scott this is? How many Scotts do we have now? Is this person related to any other Scott that we have had communicate with us in the past? Totally random. Is this person just randomly giving us $1?
Not that I particularly know of.
Okay.
Yep.
Scott, you need a new first name. Your name is the same name as too many of other people. There's only so many of these that I can do that involve the word Scott. I can only assume you're some sort of Cyclops monster because that's the only Scott I know. Scott Summers.
And then there's also Montgomery Scott.
Montgomery Scott.
Yep.
And he's dead.
He's dead in the future.
In the future, yes. In the future, he dies.
Yeah.
News to you, Scott. In the future, you'll probably die too.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean,
he's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of timescales. On that note, thank you, Scott, for for supporting the show.
That really just came into my head, and I was like, "Oh, it's dark," but I'm going for
it. Thank you to both of you.
I hope you don't have a fear of death.
Yeah. So,
an irrational fear of death.
An irrational fear of death.
But yeah, thank you to everybody who supports us over on Patreon. We do really appreciate it. You all rock. We are currently at 5 patrons this month, which makes me feel all kinds of warm and fuzzy.
Indeed.
So
almost as much warm and fuzzy as his Nickelback gives him.
God damn it. God damn it. If you would like to support the show, you can do so over at patreon.com/milehighgameguys. If that interests you. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
If you want to, you can always find us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have Facebook and Instagram /MileHighGameGuys. And we have our Board Game Geek Guild that you can go join. Guild number 2731 over there. Yeah. So plenty of ways to get in touch. Also, be sure to join the Slack channel,
Yes.
the ever burgeoning, growing Slack channel.
I can always tell when there's over like 300 missed messages that Paul has been involved in some fashion.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk during the World Cup games, too.
Yes. Now the World Cup is done. The sports channel alone should quiet down.
I'm glad I
Probably
never,
until football, I would
Yes.
assume.
glad I never joined it.
Yeah. So plenty of ways to interact with us if you are so inclined. Yeah. This episode was sponsored by Gray Fox Games, whose new game Pocket Mars will be coming out here at Gen Con in just a few more weeks. It is available for pre-order over on their website, grayfoxgames.com, for $14.99. So in case you did not yet have enough Mars-themed games in your life, and you wanted one that you could take with you very easily to go colonize the Red Planet, that's what Pocket Mars is for.
It can fit in your pocket, right?
Yes.
Good. That'd be a very bad name otherwise.
Yes. I mean, I suppose depending on the size of your pocket, there's a lot of.
If you need Jinko jeans to put in your pocket, then it's not a pocket game.
Yeah, it is a nice little small heavyweight filler. So
Nice.
go check that out. Like I said, it'll be releasing at Gen Con, and they are accepting pre-orders now that will be shipping in August. So get on it. Jeff, do you have a prepared statement?
I do indeed. Gray Fox Games, quality games, cleverly crafted. Also, excellent speech, the gift of a silver tongue. They say it's the mark of a good officer and of a liar.
Indeed. On that note, that wraps up the episode. Thanks, everybody, for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Grim Reaper Jeff.
Bye.
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 And I have done a really bad job over the last, 33 years of my life of every time I've moved, I pack up all of my stuff. And then when I get to where I'm going, I unpack about 80%. And then I randomly dig through that other 20% when I feel like I need something in there. And so over the last 30 odd years, that's led to me having like half of our big storage closet here was just half full cardboard boxes of just random fucking junk. Like just the most obscure shit. I
move, but my random junk box is like one small box.
Yeah, that was mine like
of-
maybe when I moved out after high school and left for the Navy. I found a box that was a bunch of old like stuff that family members got me like when I joined the Navy, like a Navy SEAL Zippo or like a authentic U.S. Navy watch that's just a watch with the Navy insignia like as the background. It doesn't work.
I mean, that sounds super official to me.
It's official.
Just random shit like that. Like just a whole box full of it. And I was like, Megan, I know your dad's kind of into military stuff. Does he want to get this? And she laughed and she goes, no. But all right. So just random shit like that. So it's been a lot of digging through. Megan's actually being a positive influence and forcing me to go through all of my old multiple moves worth of junk boxes and find out what's actually worth keeping in there. And the answer, not a lot.
Yeah.
Shocking how the junk box doesn't have much good stuff in it.
Yeah, I find it really hard. Like there'd occasionally be something I'd want to keep in there. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I think I'll keep this. She'd be like,
Why?
what have you done with that for the
Yeah.
last 5 years? Like that we've lived here for 5 years. Good point. I guess it can go.
Punchboard Media,
where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
At punchboardmedia.com.